what were some of those early influences for you that got you into this industry and, interested in automotive?
Sure. Well, the company was actually founded by my father. So I kind of got involved at a young age. When I was 15, I started working in the warehouse and folding boxes, and we like to kind of joke about that around here because I can still fold our rod end boxes faster than most people. So,
Yeah.
But that's really where I started. And then in college, I would go work PRI and just really got to know and love the industry at that time. Attended my first SEMA show as soon as I turned 21. And I've been going ever since. So I started at QA1 out of college, kind of rotating through between customer service and sales, and doing a lot of the marketing, and then worked in material handling for a while. So a lot of direct customer access, and that was really enjoyable and valuable. And then I left for a while, got some outside of the industry experience, and then ended up coming back in 2011. And that's where I took on more of like an executive role and leading different parts of the company. So
Yeah, that's great. Now, Melissa, you mentioned that your dad, started the company, and obviously that's kind of how you got into this all. But was there ever anything else that you had an interest in, or was it kind of always clear that you would kind of get into this?
For a little while, I thought about going into teaching, but as soon as it was really once I started attending PRI and I learned what the industry was, that I knew that I would be here.
Yeah, yeah.
So I just love it's not very often that you get to work with people regularly who are so passionate about something, and being within the motorsports community is it's just really enjoyable.
Yeah, no, it's certainly, it's very true. It's definitely a passionate group of folks that, have a lot of common bonds within the industry. So that's great.
Mm-hmm.
You mentioned that you did leave in 2000, or prior to 2011, you were doing a few other things.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to just expand on what you kind of got into, and then what drew you back to QA1?
Sure. I left and I went back to school. I got my MBA, and then I worked at a software technology company for a while. And it really just kind of cemented my love and appreciation of marketing and different events. And so then I had the opportunity to come back in 2011, and I couldn't say no.
Yeah, excellent. Now, Melissa, you mentioned that you can still fold, boxes faster than some of the other guys still in the warehouse there. Did you guys ever time it?
No, but we should. We've raced, but we haven't timed it. So.
Okay. And obviously, you've climbed the ladder there at the company and held a lot of jobs within QA1. Is there one that stands out as, being one you enjoyed the most?
Well, my personal passion falls within marketing. So I love just learning the different ways to connect with people. I view marketing as just that, right? As how can you find a connection with your customer, with people within the company. So that's kind of where my personal passion lies.
Yeah.
But I do still like to go out in the shop and help them pull and pack orders too. So I get out in the warehouse positions. That's where I get out to the most.
Yeah, that's excellent. And obviously today you're president and CEO and running the company. You want to talk about what your role is like today? Obviously every day is probably different, but what are some of those things that you're focused on?
Sure. Well, you're right. Every day is different. But I'm lucky that we have just the best team here. So I work with every department, and just, I try to be a resource to people, to help them, you know, kind of fine tune ideas, or, you know, look at what could change in the future, and how to make things better. But we really like to empower people to do their own stuff. So like I said, I really just try to serve as a resource for people.
Engine Quest, your home for new OE type replacement and performance engine parts and cores. For our full line of products, visit enginequest.com or call 1-800-426-8771. Engine Quest, the name you trust for engine parts, cores, and recycling.
Melissa, obviously, you know, being at the top of the company comes with challenges, and, you know, those things that companies face kind of fall on your shoulders. So can you talk a little bit about what have been some of the challenges for you guys? You know, obviously COVID's been a big thing, but outside of that, have there been other things that you guys kind of have to deal with?
Yeah, I mean, there's always something, right? So, yeah, COVID itself was a challenge. We got very, very fortunate in that we had just moved into a new facility. So we were operating in 2 smaller buildings, but people were kind of on top of each other. And in January of 2020, we moved into a new building, and it allowed for natural distancing of people, which just, I think, helped us get through COVID and all of those challenges. So we were very fortunate that we had the space to spread out with that. In terms of other challenges, you know, we tackle it just like anything else. We try to get, you know, a team of people together and work through it. So we have a lot of people who care a lot about QA1, and they also care about the industry. So it's kind of fun when we have the ability to work together and overcome something.
Yeah, absolutely. I know in talking with a lot of our audience and engine builders, you know, the supply chain has been a big topic recently. You know, is that something that you guys have seen as well with some of your products?
Yep, definitely. We've seen lead times on raw materials triple and more in some cases. So we've been trying to look ahead as much as we can. We use our resources that help us in planning and everything. So that's been helpful. But really what I think stands out for us is we make as much as we possibly can in-house. So we kind of control our own destiny, so to speak. So, but we've even seen lead times increase on machines and equipment. And so, because they're waiting on one component or something. And so that it's been challenging, but we're doing the best that we can with the resources that we have.
Yeah, yeah. Obviously, you don't have a crystal ball over there, but, you know, do you see a return to more than normal times for supply chain stuff, you know, on the horizon, or do you think it's still out a little ways?
I think it's probably still out a little ways.
Yeah.
To get caught up with all the ports and the shipping and freight and everything else, I think just that alone is creating all kinds of issues. So once that gets sorted out, then maybe that'll fix things, but
fingers crossed, right?
Right. I'm hopeful sooner than later, but we are planning our resources into next year already. So
yeah, it's kind of what you need to do. So
yeah,
at least you're thinking ahead.
We're trying.
Melissa, you mentioned the new facility, and I saw, correct me if I'm wrong, but you guys just held an open house and had some stuff. Is that the same facility that you were talking about?
Yep.
So you want to just talk about what the new facility has and how it differs from what you guys were using before, and then how the open house went?
Sure. Well, our new facility has been absolutely amazing for us. We had a very large group of people that contributed ideas and helped with the planning of it. So one of the big things is we're fully climate controlled now, where we weren't before. We didn't have air conditioning before. So that's made a significant difference for everybody, no matter where they work. We also made sure that from any place in the building, you can see outside. So that was something that a lot of our people who worked in the warehouse a lot kind of struggled with before. It was a typical warehouse that was built in the 70s, and very few windows. And so we have a ton of glass, and honestly, wherever you are in the building, you can see outside. And so that people just love it. We kept the facility as open as possible, so that you have access to anyone, anytime. And we also made sure that we had, we set up our workstations differently so that people were more comfortable. And, for example, our shock line, we added in special flooring there so that the people who had to stand all the time were doing so more comfortably and safer, where there's drip trays for the oil to go into and then stay off of the walking surface. So just things like that. We also made sure that we put our development center right off of where our design engineers are. So they have quick and easy access to that area. And our development center is, 5 times bigger than it was in our last place. So just a lot more space that's better utilized. We're also set up to expand again. So we're hopeful that we'll need to do that in the next 5 years.
Yeah, and you mean in the same facility?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you got the space to grow there. Yeah.
Yep.
That's great.
And for our open house, that it's an event that we've held for several years now, but we weren't able to hold it the last 2 years. Last year because of COVID, and the year prior because we were just busting at the seams and in process of building this new place. So we just didn't feel right bringing people through when we had such kind of a mess on our hands.
Right.
So it was just really fun to welcome people into the new building and just have the event again. So I think there were about, 200 or so that came. It's an early morning event because we cruise up to the Street Machine Nationals afterwards. So it's just really fun to have all of those cars leave together and go up to that event. But yeah, we brought about 200 people through the facility, and we have people working during the tour so that the people on the tour can see exactly how our products are made. So they walk through all of our machining centers, shock assembly, welding, the development center, everything. We show them everything. And we just love it. All of our people love engaging with our customers, and it's just really a fun time for literally everybody here.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, it sounds like it's been a long time in the making, and certainly sounds like you put a lot of thought into what the new facility, looks like and how it functions. And how long did the whole process take?
It actually was pretty fast. So it took probably 13, 14 months from when we decided to do it to when we moved in.
Yeah.
So it was pretty quick.
Yeah, that's great.
Mm-hmm.
Melissa, I wanted to, just ask you about the company in general and the products you guys offer. Have there been certain product lines that are, more popular than others? And, where's kind of the focus of QA1 currently?
Sure. So we started off providing rod ends to the racing industry. And now we sell all kinds of suspension as well as carbon fiber drive shafts. So on our suspension side, we have shock absorbers and a variety of different fabricated suspension components. And then, like I said, we have composite drive shafts as well. So really all of our all of our stuff is what's hot. But we've taken a lot of care to design full suspension kits for a variety of vehicles. So what we do is we allow people to upgrade their suspension either all at once or be able to do bits and pieces as their budget or timeline allows, really. So they know that with our product, it's all designed to go together. And you know, it just makes it for a very easy suspension upgrade for them.
Yeah, yeah, that's great. Melissa, I wanted to ask you, you know, obviously you've been in this industry, you know, most of your life. You kind of grew up in it. But is there one aspect that has attracted you to, you know, to it the most, or staying with it the most?
But for me, it's the people. I just love meeting everybody, you know, like it's whether it's at a race or at a car show, going out and riding some trails, you know, just the people who are in it are just so fun.
Yeah, yeah. And then in your experience, is there, you know, something that you've been able to be a part of because you've been in the industry that you've enjoyed the most? You know, as you said, going to a trade show or going to a race, or maybe participating in the activity.
Mm-hmm.
Is there something that stands out to you?
Honestly, the best thing for me has been helping to get our people involved in different kinds of volunteer work. We work really closely with our schools here. And just this past year, we rolled out a program that goes to all the fifth graders in our school district, and it's called Engineered for Speed. And we have connected so many of our engineers and tech support people with these fifth graders and helping them understand what goes into kind of the construction of vehicles and aerodynamics and everything else. So
Yeah.
this year was the first year it rolled out to the whole district, and just doing stuff like that is very, very fun and rewarding.
No, I'm sure. I'm sure they get all the kids get a kick out of that. And
Yeah, they have a blast and they learn what adding weight to the vehicle does, and the whole thing culminates with an event towards the end of school, and they have a race using gutters, you know, like it's kind of like a Pinewood Derby, but a little bit different. But yeah, our team works with them over the course of a couple months to build these cars and teach them about them. So we really like being involved with our schools, and you know, if I wasn't in this role, I wouldn't be able to do that. So
yeah, certainly. Well, that's great that you guys do something like that for the community and for younger generations to see it and have an opportunity to get into it.
mm-hmm.
That's great.
Yeah.
Melissa, I wanted to ask, obviously you had a foot in the door with your dad founding the company, but you know, you still did a bunch of roles and moved up the company ladder. But you know, this is a male dominated industry, and I just wanted to ask, you know, from a female perspective, what it's been like for you, you know, moving up the chain and seeing the different roles within your own company, you know, from a female point of view. You know,
Sure.
how's that been?
It's been great. You know, the people ask me that question a lot. And I really don't feel like I'm any different than, you know, most men in the industry. Occasionally there will be a sexist comment or whatever, but that's very, very, very rare. And most of the time I think people are understanding that there's a lot more females that are involved in motorsports now, and there's not as much prejudice as a lot of people think there would be.
Yeah, certainly.
So for me, I don't really consider my experience any different than anybody else. which I appreciate. So,
Yeah, yeah. No, I mean, it certainly hasn't stopped you from achieving what you've wanted to achieve, and that's great. So,
mhm.
yeah. Melissa, I'll leave you with just one other question here and a little more forward thinking, looking into the rest of this year, next year, even beyond that.
Mhm.
What are some of the things that have you excited about, what's going on at QA1, what's going on in the industry as a whole? What are some of those things that are on your mind?
I'm just kind of really excited about where the industry is headed. It feels to me like COVID kind of gave a resurgence to people's passion for cars. And like, I know that people are out there teaching their kids how to work on the cars. They're finding the car that maybe they grew up with and trying to, make that their own. It just feels like there's a renewed passion there for a lot of people. And I am excited to see them kind of hang on to that and continue growing the industry that we all love. So
Yeah, absolutely. It's been exciting in that regard. It's
yeah,
kind of a double-edged sword with everything else that's been going on, but this industry has certainly benefited from some aspects of it, and it's great to see people, like you said, getting into their passion again for cars.
yeah. I think every event that I've been to since COVID has been more crowded than I've ever seen it. And just even car counts are up and attendance is up, and it's been fun. So
Yeah.
I know there's races up here. Our VP of engineering was just in a race 2 weeks ago, and he said that normally in his field there's maybe 15 cars and there were 90.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, he's like, it's crazy.
You almost can't run that many, can you?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's great.
Yeah.
Well, Melissa, I don't have too many other questions for you, but I did want to open it up to you if there was anything else you wanted to discuss or just anything else you want to add to the conversation. But if not, we should be good.
No, I feel like you asked a lot of questions. So covered lots of different topics for sure.
Yeah, excellent. Well, Melissa, again, I appreciate you giving us some of your time this morning and, for being willing to be part of this issue.
Great. Well, thank you. Appreciate, I appreciate you asking me. So
Yeah,